While in Quartzsite, Arizona, I found this company, Tripod Torch. They are brand new. They proudly make this in the USA. So this is a brand new little fire torch. It's super compact. It rolls up into a small bag. And basically you can put this almost anywhere versus a fire pit that's a little bit more traditional like this. Obviously it takes up a lot more room, adds a little bit more weight. So if you're needing something very compact, something like this might be up your alley. Let me tell you a little bit about it. Now inside here, there's not a lot. It's simply just take this out, read the instructions. I highly encourage this all the time. But this comes with a few pieces like this really nice propane hose. These are the ones that you can have the adjustable pressure they would usually use for like your cooking pots on a cooking stove. So this is a really high pressure regulator. These are really nice. And then it'll also come with your main burner, which this is super easy to assemble. You also have the 3 legs, and then you will have some little pegs you can kind of put in the ground to kind of keep it stable. That way it just doesn't blow right over, or if somebody wants to knock it out of the way. But you have these little anchors you can put in the ground. And if you get the upgraded kit, then you get the heat shields, and we'll look at this later. Now, one thing that's actually pretty cool about this is that you have to assemble this, which is easy. You just take off the cap, go ahead and put on your hose. Now, one thing they did think about was that each one of these is actually a tool. So you'll put one on here, grab your other tool. So it's a 2-in-1 tool. It fits both sizes. So you'll have this one that'll fit on the actual torch, and then the one that fits on the hose. It is pretty snug, and it just barely fits on there, but it does fit. And then you can tighten it down good enough. You don't have to really wrench it, just get it snug, and then that part of your torch is done. Now to assemble this, if you put this little plate up here, and then each one of these will go into the slot, but you want to make sure that it comes back up against the wall, like so, if you can see that. And so then go ahead and take your other ones, push it out, and then you can use the plate to actually hold those two out of there, and we can get our last one up here and push you all the way out. And then that should pretty much give us now our assembled product. Get this one over here real quick. And now that the plate's all the way down, it basically just kind of sits there like that. So, I mean, obviously once you do it once or twice, it'll become a lot quicker, and it's basically ready to use just like that. And now this is, again, an option if you want to buy the fully loaded kit to get the heat shields, but these will help deflect the heat. And then if you add all 3, you can cook on this thing as well. And so now you have basically a cook surface. And they said that you can put 40 pounds on here. Not that most people would, but you could easily put a pot on there of water or something and boil that, no problem. But we'll get that kind of going so you can see it work. Now when it comes to the Tripod Torch, they only have the main propane line right now, which you can pick these up online. They're all over the place, really. It's nothing kind of special, which is nice because if it ever goes out, because regulators do, you can at least pick that up really easy. Now I did talk to Tripod Torch, and they are actually going to be making a line that you can plug in to, like, say, your RV. That way you can use your onboard tanks instead of having to maybe do something like that. So I don't know when that's going to be coming out, but you can. This one I have, actually, you can take it off, and then you can just adjust it with the valve that is underneath here. But that is a little bit kind of inconvenient, but it still works, so you can just control the flow from right up there. Now I did hook this up to my RV's onboard system, and depending on your regulator size might depend on the size of the flame you get. Most of them are about 160 to maybe 345 BTU, but you can see this is still plenty of flame. And away we go. Now you can see that the tube is all stainless and clean, right? Well, the way that they designed this one is really more for a lot of heat output. So with that, you are going to get some soot buildup. Just like I kind of showed you there, there is soot that kind of builds up on the rocks, and that'll kind of get, you know, inside the pan as well. But you will get more soot build up on this, but it actually wipes off really easy and really quick. Now, just to give you an idea, that puts out about 5,800 BTU if I remember correctly. This can put up to 200,000, which is crazy, versus a 58,000. So it's like, you know, more than double by far. It's quadruple. So turn this up, and then you'll just see this thing get crazy big. That's only a little bit. There's a little more. Now, if you go too far, this is a safety valve and it will shut it down. Look at that. I mean, isn't that crazy? And that's, you know, it's still going. I haven't even really, this is just amazing. Look at that thing. I mean, I can actually feel the heat from here, and I'm pretty far back. You do get a little bit of the whistling out of the tank because of the draw, which that's why you have these high volume regulators. But I mean, look at that thing. Look at that. I mean, look at that. I can literally feel the heat from here. It is actually really warm. And that thing is just blasting heat everywhere. Now that one is also fully up. And so I even modified this one to put out more by actually drilling out the jet size, which I have a video on that. I'll even leave it down in the link below, but you only want to go just a little bit. But that thing there, that's some heat. That is insane. So what I'm going to do is actually stick on a couple of these little things, which you should probably do this when it's off. So, you know, I don't recommend doing this, but actually that wasn't too bad. But again, use some safety precautions. You can definitely feel it blowing, you know, the heat kind of this way. We'll add one more and we'll kind of turn it. Now down here, it's not even hot at all. These are actually just lukewarm. Now I've added both of the heat deflectors on it, and I mean, you can see I can put my hands pretty much right here. It definitely isn't allowing the heat to come out this way, obviously, but we'll get on the other side. And you can feel the heat being projected this way, but I do have wind that is kind of blowing it off that way because it's kind of coming in from behind me. As you can see, it's blowing out that way. This thing puts off some serious heat. I mean, this is definitely a pretty cool, I mean, even if you don't need it, this is just kind of a cool toy. Now, when you add all three of these, this is when you can use it as a little cooktop. And you won't need very much flame or heat or anything because obviously now that it's being directed straight up, it's really concentrated, so you can turn your flame way down. Now, I did talk to Jake over at Tripod Torch, and he did say that if you are going to use this as a cooktop and maybe putting pans on it or skillets, cast iron and whatnot, you are going to get some of that soot buildup, but literally a paper towel will just wipe it right off. At least that's what he says, so we'll let this cool down, give it a wipe down after I let it build up some soot, and we'll see how well that works. Well, when you're filming a video, and then all of a sudden a little, or maybe a bigger storm kind of drops in, but have both of them out there just kind of going at the moment, and lots of rain, so this pretty much came out of nowhere, but that's kind of what you get out here when you're in the desert. Now, after letting this cool down, I decided to see how easy it was to clean. I simply took a paper towel and wiped off the torch part of it, and as you can see there, boom, cleans up real easy. Now, if I was to do something a little different, I might wear a glove and then also not do this in my outside kitchen, as a little bit of the soot does kind of fall off. So what do you guys think about this little tripod fire torch? You'll have to let me know down below, but being that it's so compact, it's about 6 pounds roughly, mainly because the hose is a decent amount of the weight, but it's so compact you just kind of throw it in wherever you want to go. So for the van guys, if you have a really small camper, this might be a better option than maybe like the Outland Fireball, which I do love the Cypress. It's one of the best ones you can get, but they both run around the same price. And I will have links down below where you can also pick up the tripod fire torch. I think this is definitely something I'm really going to be keeping around because, one, it gets real hot, and with the little flame deflectors, you can push that heat kind of towards you. It doesn't take up any room, and again, it's not really messy at all. Sure, there's a little bit of soot on it, but you know, it's better than all the rocks flying out of that thing. And there's still soot on there as well. So I will have links down below where you can find this. I hope you guys liked the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.